All right, folks. So we've actually got a couple of things to look at here from Dave Rubin. Now, for me personally, my sort of drive for making videos about Dave Rubin really dove a lot. It really went down a lot, honestly. And I really didn't even plan on making any more videos, or at least, much. But here's an instance where it's just so significant, I would say, that I just have to talk about it. So we're talking about two things here. There's this hilarious clip here where he's crying and literally and whining about, Sam Seder, etc., etc. And the other portion we're going to get to is Dave Rubin has announced a new book, and we're going to read the little synopsis of the book, the description of the book on Amazon, and we're going to go over that. It's been announced for pre-order right now, and we're going to talk about that in the second half of this video. But for now, we're going to look at this. So, from my understanding, this is a clip from Roaming Millennials show, which I think is called Pseudo Intellectual, which is pretty accurate, so good for her. She knows how dumb she is. But this is a clip from Dave Rubin, and he's going to talk about the quote-unquote trolly YouTubers, and he's going to explain why he won't debate any of them. Let's hear him out.
And I would just say one other thing, which is there are occasionally some more like trolly YouTuber types on the left who, endlessly talk crap about me and then
Yeah.
demand to debate me. And it's like, I'm not in that game. I'm really not. Like, I have a certain, I think this is probably very similar for you. I have a certain set of rules that I try to live by. Do I always do it? No. Do I fail sometimes? Yes. But I have a certain set of rules. I really try not to attack people's motives. I try not to attack people personally. I mean, hear what we've done for these few minutes. I've tried to talk about ideas. Yes, occasionally you're going to muddle some of that stuff. We're just
So there are a couple of problems I have with this, first of all, okay? So first of all, he tries to basically say like, "Oh, they just talk crap about me and then they want me to debate, I don't do that kind of stuff." You know what I'm saying? I don't know, whatever. Like they don't respect me or something like that, so I'm not going to debate them. But it's something that he's literally done multiple times. So here's one example. So there's a dude named Jack Smith who I believe had done an article about him or something like that. This is back in 2018, early 2018. And so uh, the dude says, lots of Jordan Peterson devotees still tweeting at me, so while I've got your attention, if you're a big fan of Peterson, you identify as, quote, leftist or liberal or progressive, I want to hear from you. DMs are open. And then Dave Rubin responds saying, hey, Jack, you're an embarrassment to journalism, and that takes a lot these days. Come on my show and I'll show you what a real liberal is. Or, better yet, you and Jordan Peterson face to face. I'll pay for your flight, hotel, and all the soy you can drink. So, you tell me, this is the guy right here who's talking about, oh, these trolly YouTubers like Sam Seder and Kyle Kulinski and all the people that he's been asked about in person to debate. This is the guy who's complaining about that. This is the hypocrite who's complaining about that. Just look at this tweet. All the soy you can drink, come on my show, you're an embarrassment to journalism. Really, dude? Come on, you're not attacking him personally? Come on, dude. Soy you can drink? Get out of here, dude. Like, and there's even another example here. He wanted to have Sarah Silverman on his show, which is weird. He always tries to get celebs on his show because he, like Candace Owens as well as Tommy Lahren, they're all clout chasers. These people, with the exception of, I think Tommy Lahren actually believes what she says, but to me, Candace Owens and Dave Rubin are just strictly careerists. They don't really care about what they say, especially Dave Rubin. It's all about the career. Whatever, for him, politics is simply a means to an end, which means that, it doesn't matter to him which side, what he has to say to get the money and the brand, etc., etc. He just does whichever one can give him that. So he uses it as a vehicle to get to his endpoint, to get to his destination. So he responded by saying, just like how entitled progressive celebs think everyone else is backwards and stupid, or nah, again, happy to discuss on my show. So, of course, saying that, progressive celebs are backwards and stupid, despite, thinking that they're not, or that other people, everyone else is, and he's inviting her on his show. So, again, two examples there that we're talking about here that we see from him. But another problem that I have with Mr. Dubin here is that, and he's tried to do this. So recall when Beanie Man got into the argument with all the progressive YouTubers like Sam Seder, David Pakman, Kyle Kulinski, and everyone. And he was like, I think, I can't speak for Dave, but I think the reason why he won't have you on is because you'll talk more about Dave than his ideas, which is really stupid. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to mention, well, actually I'll mention in a second. but and then I saw someone, I forgot who it was, who actually conceded to that point. It was like, oh no, I'd be happy to just talk about ideas. David Pakman was like, well, any legit conversation would have to do about Dave Rubin's platform. Like, Dave Rubin has a show that's supposedly, free marketplace of ideas. He supposedly holds certain ideas that puts him in a certain camp, etc., etc., etc. All of this different type of stuff, right? Don't concede that point. Don't concede that, because it is important to talk about if there is reason to question motive, question the motive. That's the thing. If there's evidence, if you see evidence there, that's when it's time to question it. So when we see him partnering with the Ayn Rand Institute for a partnered video series, you see what's going down. When he's partnered with Learn Liberty and he's getting money from them, trust me, dude, like, what's going down. There's a lot of motive there. He got a lot of money on Patreon when he turned right wing. So, and he's literally coming out with the book now that's going to sell a ton. But, also I want to say that when he says that, like, as if he only talks about ideas, dude, you know how many tweets I've seen from Rave Dubin about Bernie's 3 houses? So, if you don't know what that whole smear is about, basically, as anyone who works in Congress, you have to have 2 residencies because you work in 2 places. You work in D.C., in Washington, D.C., and you also work in your home constituency because you have to go back to visit. That's who you represent. So you have the 2 spots. You have a small place in D.C., and then you have a place in your in your constituency. So all congressional members, except for like the very few who are like super poor and like literally sleep in their office, you have to have 2 residencies. So automatically you have 2, and then they had a house that was inherited from Jane's parents, who I think had passed or something like that. So that's not like talking about Bernie's ideas. You departed from Bernie's ideas of what Medicare for all, $15 minimum wage, and instead went to, you have 3 houses. I can't even count on my fingers how many times he said that. So he's lying, dude. He's lying to you. He's making it up. He's not being truthful. He's lying. He does that stuff himself. But again, I want to repeat, do not concede to him when he tries to make the point of like, the people just go after my motives. Like, yeah, because there's, we see what's going on. You have bad faith motives. We know you're a sellout. Like, that's the thing. So don't concede to that point. But he's obviously, talking about Sam Seder, Kyle Kulinski. Oh, by the way, also, one other thing I want to mention. David Pakman has never talked crap about Dave Rubin even a single time, folks. Not even once. Not a single time has David Pakman talked crap about Dave Rubin, and he still refuses to have him on. So, he's lying again. And as you know, man, and this guy really pisses me off because frauds really piss me off. People who are not being honest and they're grifting for money really do piss me off, and this guy really does. So, to move on to the second half of this, Mr. Dubin here has put out a book, officially. Okay, he's put out a book. So, the title of this is Don't Burn This Book, Thinking for Yourself in an Age of Unreason. Dave Rubin, forward by Jordan B. Peterson. So, of course, the guy who's really like his main guy is writing the forward, which is interesting. So, it looks like the pre-order is $16.45, but it looks like the list price is $27. So I'm not sure if I don't know if that means that once the book actually goes on sale, it goes up to $27, which if you're paying $27 for this book, you're the biggest goober on the planet. But let's just go ahead and read some of this stuff down here. How about we do that? So, what it says is the progressive woke machine, from outraged mobs and online censorship to activists masquerading as journalists, is waging war against the last free thinkers in the world. This book is both an explanation of the current political upheaval and your guide to surviving it. America and the West in general is in the midst of an identity crisis that's headed towards an outright revolution. The progressive left, once the advocates of free expression and individual autonomy, now undermine these values at every turn. This uncomfortable truth has turned moderates and true liberals into the politically homeless class. In response, Dave Rubin launched his political talk show, The Rubin Report, in 2015 as a laboratory for anyone trying to make sense of our shifting political landscape. He discusses the most controversial issues of the day with people he both agrees and disagrees with, including those who have been dismissed, deplatformed, and even despised before they've had a chance to speak for themselves. based on his own story as well as his experiences from the front lines of the free speech wars. This book will inspire you to make up your own mind about what you believe on any issue and show you how to check your facts, not your privilege. No matter your gender, economic class, or level of education, you're still allowed to have opinions. It says Rubin separates facts from feelings, dispelling today's most pervasive myths like the wage gap, affirmative action. What does that mean? A pervasive myth. How do you what? What does that mean? How are you, dude? You can't debunk a concept. Climate change, hate crimes, and more. Climate change? What? What is this, dude? Then he says, learn to stand your ground. A difference of opinion should not be a deal breaker for any relationship, professional or personal. Sadly, these days it often is. Rubin will show you losing a few friends is a small price to pay for standing for what you believe in, and why choosing an authentic path is ultimately worth it. Defend liberalism while you still can. Time is running out to defend individual rights, limited government, free expression. Rubin provides a roadmap for true classically liberal principles regardless of your party affiliation. Shows you why freedom is impossible without them. It says, don't burn. This book empowers you with time-tested and common-sense principles that can turn the tide against authoritarians on both sides in this increasingly polarized world. This book is a rallying cry for anyone who wants to live freely, which is quickly becoming the most radical belief you could have. This sounds like a movie to me, honestly, is what it sounds like. So this stuff is hilarious, and I've been trying to tell you guys this for quite a while now. Dave Rubin, he genuinely thinks he's like making a change in some way, or that he's making a difference in some way. Like, he thinks that he actually is that he is more than just a political show. He thinks that he's some kind of a game changer. He thinks that he's really doing something, when really all he's doing is he has an echo chamber of a show that he just brings right-wingers on. He refuses to bring any lefties on, and that's literally all he does. He genuinely thinks that he's doing something crazy. Look at this, bro. In response, Dave Rubin launches political talk show The Rubin Report 2015 as a laboratory for trying to make sense of our shifting landscapes. Come on, dude. This is incredible. Based on the story as well as his experience from the front lines of the free speech wars. What? Come on, dude. Are you kidding me? The front lines? Bruh, stop self-aggrandizing yourself, dude. You are no different than any right-wing demagogue. That you're the same thing. You're funded by the same people. Literally the same fans, dude. The people who are patrons of Ben Shapiro and all those other guys are the people who are your patrons. The people cutting you checks at the Koch brothers, same people cutting them checks. And the people who are buying your book right now are the people who buy Ben Shapiro's dumb books that he puts out all the time. You are no different than a right-wing demagogue. You are no different whatsoever. You're just a dude who's a fraud, and all you do is just spout right-wing bogey BS, and you make right-wing money in return. That's it. This dude thinks that he's something special, as if he's making some difference in some way. It is truly, truly remarkable to me what this guy thinks. He really is. It's pretty remarkable, but this book is incredibly embarrassing. It's stupid, and here's the sad thing. I have to say this. Here's the unfortunate part. This might get up to one of the Amazon bestsellers, dude. Right now it's a pre-order. He said that it comes out in April, which is holy smokes, that's a long time from now. It's damn near a year away. It's 9 months away or something, 8 months away, something like that. Wow, it's a long time. But the sad thing is this is going to be this is going to be up there on the Amazon bestseller list, because these kinds of books, people just buy them. They buy them. A lot of them don't read them, but they buy them, show their support. So that's what's going to happen here, and there's nothing you can really do about it. But just know those people are goobers.